Dear guests, I would like to welcome you on behalf of ISI Emerging Markets. We at ISI know how important it is to have the right information in the right time. And that's the reason of our gathering here, because actually we are the driving forces of our organizations, of our companies, and it's very important, we do believe, in this abundance of information all over. I mean, we are literally diving in a sea of information to find the right way to gather it, to analyze it, and actually to implement it for the best decision-making process and the best business development in our companies. And I was thinking to use one sentence I like a lot, because we hear very often right now the word crisis, and this wise thought is that the wind that closes one door opens another. And I do believe that in such moments, crises mean that some ideas came to an end. So I think that each one of us should use his or her own potential and seek from the facts we see in the information. We have the privilege to live in information era, but actually I do believe that we miss some parts of very important facts, and our main task would be to gather, to connect these facts, and to use our own potential in order to be very helpful for our organizations and for society as a whole. So that's the main task of our gathering here, and I would really appreciate your opinions, because each one of you can share as well his own experience. So I wish you a very useful and good day, and I do hope that at the end we will all leave this room with motivation and with new ideas and with enthusiasm. Thank you. Yeah, so I will give now the floor to Mr. James Hammond, who is the Vice President of ISI Emerging Markets, and he would share some interesting information and case studies.
Good morning. I'm not sure I have a case study for you, but I'm going to warn you, I'm not the worst public speaker in the world. I'm just one of them. So I'll try not to make the morning seem longer than it has to be, and I'm hoping, in fact, that you will enliven this discussion by asking as candidly as you like about our business or about our opinions on the market and the information business in general. I wanted to start off here before going into all the slides on a little rumination on just where humanity has come in terms of speed of delivery of information. And I've been boring everybody in my office here in Bulgaria about this marvelous book I've been reading. I recommend it to any of you who are planning vacations or trips to France or saving up money for it. You must definitely find this book, The Discovery of France. But from an information perspective, there are a number of pages here that interested me, and I'd never really thought about it this way. But for virtually all of history, all of human history, information has traveled at about 4 to 7 miles an hour. And actually, in the 19th century, Honoré de Balzac, who I think was an excellent chronicler of his age. He noted that, I think to quote, it seems the messengers of misfortune have wings, and he brought it up in the context of the murder of the Duke of Berry in Paris, which made it into the Ile Saint-Louis in about 9 minutes, which was significantly faster than information typically travels. So there's some weird anomalies about how people communicate with one another in important events. Which I think is perhaps a good time to segue into my first slide, which is a bit of a platitude, but I think still quite an important one. And how are we doing this here? Oh, I'm in control. So time equals money, and at the heart of any online tool, this is the equation behind it. You've all probably thought about this. There's nothing particularly profound about it. The benefit of information is proportional to the time for market-moving data and proportional to volume for historical research data. So for market-moving data, it's really all about delivery. And the older the information is, the less valuable it is because others have to, they've already acted on it. And those first to gain advantage of information get an advantage over their competitors, and by doing so, they reduce the advantage for those that follow. And for research data, if there's more data to sift through, the more value it is to have a tool that will help you find it. A wealth of data helps create the backing for an argument or the confirmation of a trend. So the more rapidly information is provided, the more valuable it becomes. And also the cost of information is my second point there, is the cost of buying it added to the time it takes to access it. So the cost of buying can be the cost of employing a researcher or the cost of subscription to third-party information vendor like ourselves. And the time to access the information is time lost to other tasks, so making prices or making trading decisions or calling clients or discussing ideas with colleagues. By the same token, you have a problem that probably everybody has been faced with here. It's the information overload, which describes the point at which the time and cost it takes to access information actually exceeds the value of that information. So the longer it takes to get to key information, the less valuable that information becomes. So from our perspective, an information business, an information supplier has two main tasks. One is to maximize the benefit to the subscriber and get the information out there fast, and to give it them in sufficient depth, and two, to minimize the cost to the subscriber by making that information easy to use. And from here, I'm going to change tack a little bit away from the platitudes and talk a little bit about our business, just for the benefit of those of you who don't know us. Internet Securities is a business that's been started in 1994. We are now a division of Euromoney Institutional Investor, which has been our parent company since the end of 1999. We deliver business information products for the world's emerging markets. We're headquartered in London and New York. I'm actually based in London, and there are over 30 offices for ISI around the world. And there are now, I think that number is still correct, 540 full-time staff and actually another 40 contractors. So we're close to 600 people working around the clock on information for hopefully some of you and hopefully more of you in the future.